Let's see. I have my earpiece in, so I'm hoping you guys can hear me. We'll give a few minutes, since I'm on like just a minute earlier. Hair's a mess. I apologize. Let's see if I can make an adjustment here. Just back a little bit more. I was going to open it on my iPad also. That way, if... Come on, where are you? Here's my Servitors. Goodness, I might have to actually put my earpiece away. All right, I'll be right back. There. Let's see if that helps. There. Let's see if that helps. Turn that down now. There. And that's just to help me see the comments. My iPad. Hi, Monica. How are you doing, sweetie? Hello, Kirsten. Good to see you. And I see Ellen. Hello. How are y'all doing today? There's my... So, I have to start off with an apology. I was supposed to do my... I'm doing well, thank you, both of you. I was supposed to do my live yesterday, but I don't know where my mind was on Friday when I left work. And like a dummy, I left all my notes sitting on my desk. And being that yesterday was Sunday, I couldn't get back in there to get them. This kind of isn't something that I can like wing it, you know? So I had to reschedule it for today. Hope that doesn't screw up anybody's daily schedules. Anyway, I'm gonna adjust my pants here. So today I want to go over Servitors. And I don't know if you are familiar with a Servitor, if you've ever used one before, please absolutely pipe in. Tell me your opinions about it. Let me know. My vacuum's talking, sorry. There's some controversy back and forth between multiple witch communities if a servitor is considered a mythological creature or not. It is, and it isn't. You know, personal opinion here. Never heard of them. We're going to go over what they are. A servitor is a magical entity, or like a servant that you actually create yourself. And you create this entity to do your bidding or to help you in certain aspects or with certain goals in your life. And there's no like books or anything, you know, like we see about, you know, phoenixes, dragons, or harpies, or any other, you know, mythological creatures, unicorns that we've grown up or known about pretty much our whole lives. But if unattended properly, if left unattended or not taken care of properly, a servitor can turn into an egregore, which we know is a mythological creature. So that's why there's a bit of conflict back and forth on that. So anyway, servitors mainly come through chaos magic. They're typically used in chaos magic, but not exclusively to that type of magic. Anybody can create a servitor. And I like to think of it as a spirit that helps me. It is part of you that you've created and have released into the world, giving it its own life. It's an energy. Sorry, I don't know if that's too loud or not. The vacuum's dumping. Give it a second. Sorry. There it goes. It's an energy or idea that you have given form to. You have created this with your thought process, using both your subconscious and your conscious mind. Similar to a sigil, but it's created for a more ongoing goal rather than one specific purpose. So what is a servitor used for? Anything that you want. It can be for protection, goals, magical assistance. These are just some examples. They're most effective when there's a possibility of their goal being achieved. It doesn't have to be likely, just possible. Servitors are typically a temporary entity, and they're not emotional. They are given a job to do, and that is the only thing that they focus on doing. And they're not a companion. That's considered a tulpa, and we're not going over tulpas. Similar concept, but different entities with different goals. Creation, very similar. Let's see. And I know that I said that a servitor is typically a temporary entity. But if you're using it for protection, you could have your servitor forever if you want. You know, so it doesn't always have to be temporary. Let's see. So before I go into how to create a servitor, do we have any questions? Wait a couple of seconds. It says that I still have 2 people on, but it never tells us who's on, so I don't know. Sounds really cool. I think they are. I like having a servitor. It gives me that extra push, that extra oomph. They give me that extra help that I need. Especially when I'm going for a goal, you know. I like to tell people that if they're if they've never created a servitor before, if it's your first one, start off with something that you want, but not like really badly. If that makes sense. I know sometimes it sounds better in my head than it does out my mouth. But like all things in magic, they take practice. And servitors they're no different. The strength between yourself and your servitors, you learn more and more and more as you go, and more as you practice, about how to keep the strength between you and your servitor. So let me move on to planning for making your servitor. So prep work, that is a very, very, very big deal in creating your servitor. It's all about the prep work. You're creating something completely new, and every servitor that you create is completely new. So of course, first things first, we want to be able to answer some questions, right? Like, what is your servitor supposed to accomplish? What do you want it to do for you? What is its purpose? Things like, do you want it to help you with losing weight? Help you live your best life? Quit smoking? Be confident? In my case, my servitor that I have right now, he helps me with stage fright. When I'm on stage performing, that's his job, to help me with my stage fright, because I do have stage fright. Oops. So those are just some examples, and like I had said, a little bit earlier, another example is for protection, to protect you or protect your home or help protect your family. My vacuum. And then another question is, what are you going to name your servitor? Giving it a name helps for you to have that tighter connection with your servitor. It's also a way for you to be able to call upon it, depending on how you want it to interact with your goals. Do you want to, like when it comes to your activation, do you want it to do its job, in my case, when I get up on that stage? Do you want it to do its job when you call out a color? Do you want it to start doing its job when you call its name? Or in a case of protection, is it to do its job when there's a presence of danger, whether it be physical, spiritual, emotional, multiple realms? It depends on how you set up your servitor. Another question is do you want your servitor to be ongoing, or to decay or retire after it's accomplished its task? And then we start going into other questions, or another question. What do you want your servitor to look like? You don't want it to look like a god or a goddess that you're familiar with, because it's a completely separate entity. You're not you can ask the gods to help you in creating your servitor, but you don't want it to look like your gods. Animals are common choices. Gnomes are common choices. In my case, if I decide that I want it to look like, a sparrow or something like that, it's going to be a sparrow with really, really, really long, bright green metallic wings. Something like that. But also, one of the easier ways to help decide what you want your servitor to look like is it can be based on its function as well as its divination. If, example, a giant beholder eyeball can be for viewing, a mirrored warrior for protection, just to kind of throw out a couple of ideas, Jax, no. Go on. If you're going to invoke a deity to aid in the creation of your servitor, then seeking a vision may be appropriate. Just like the images of the gods tell us something about their domain and influence, they can help you form your servitor to help it serve its function. I see we have Ronette on here. Hello, hello. So, that's about, you're late. It's okay. We haven't gone over too much yet, just what a servitor is, and just starting into the planning of creating your servitor. So one of the main things about creating your servitor is sigils. The sigil will, the sigil will represent your servitor's name and its purpose. And of course, you're going to create the sigil yourself, or it could come to you by way of your deity or gods, or, it's entirely up to you. Some people scry or do automatic writing. Some use divination, and some pull from the type of magic that they're wanting to use. For me, my sigil came to me in, hi Michelle, don't worry about being late. Anyway, my sigil for my servitor came to me about a year ago in a dream. I drew it out, and I held on to it because I knew it was going to be something important, something that I needed. And then when I created my servitor, this is the sigil that I use for this one servitor that I have. We call this sigil the seed sigil. This is what creates your servitor. It's the heart of your servitor. It's the very basis of its being. Important to the construction, so just take your time with it. Don't force it. Let it come to you naturally. Let it come to you. However you decide. I'm sorry. One second. That's what happened. Okay, sorry about that. One of my air things dropped out of the back of the fish tank. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, where was I? Oh, about taking your time with creating your sigil for your servitor. It's pretty important. It's very important, sorry, to get it right. So take your time with it. Nobody's in a rush. You can encompass other sigils on and around your servitor to give it parameters and or boundaries. And these added sigils can also answer other questions. You know, like I said, with the parameters or boundaries, you could create another sigil for like its arms and its legs or its wings or facial features or whatever. Like extra protection sigils. How long do you want your servitor to live? That's another question. Is there going to be a material basis that it'll be tied to? Everybody's different. Mine lives inside here. It's actually a wish capsule with a little piece of paper inside of it. And on the paper is its name. And whenever I feel that I need it, I hold it. Especially when I get up on stage. First thing I do is grab a hold of it. My servitor, even though he has a purpose, he's with me every day. It's part of my connection to him. It's part of my deal with him to feed him, which we're going to go over that also. Part of the upkeep. I remember when we had gone over contracts and deals, and this is what you're doing. You're creating a deal or a contract with this entity that you have created. Will you be feeding it? How will you be feeding it? Those are questions that you're going to ask, and we're going to go over the feeding also. I want to make sure that we don't miss any of this. And I do feel that feeding it is really important, especially if you're going to keep it for a very long time. So then we're going to get into, you want to write down its role. You're going to describe the role just as you would tell someone their job description, because that's what you're doing. You're giving it a job. Detail all the tasks that this servitor is responsible for. Write it all down, because you're going to go over this. How long should you keep one? You could keep one for as short as a day or two till the day you die. Just if you're gonna have your servitor till the day you die, it should be in part of your description and part of your creation that if you do pass on, that the servitor also passes on. I know that you had missed a little bit of the beginning, but the reason I say that, it depends on you, and it depends on what its task is. I had given some examples, like losing weight, living your best life, to quit smoking, build your confidence, protection. Those are just examples. So depending on how long your goal is, or how long it takes to reach your goal, depends on how long you want to keep your servitor. I hope that answers your question. When you're describing its role, include in there what it's not allowed to do. Your servitor is going to do what it needs to do for you to accomplish your task. So it must have boundaries. You're setting your intentions. And like your intentions, you need to be as simple, but as specific as possible. Okay, this is a bad example, but it's an example. So if you're creating a servitor to help you gain something like money, well, you're going to set boundaries because you do not want your servitor to kill somebody in order for you to reap the benefits of their death. Like I said, bad example, but it is an example. That's how I was taught. I was like, wow, that's kind of harsh, but okay. But this is why we set boundaries. I don't know who gave me the laugh, but thank you. Makes it clear. Yes, it does. Sometimes those harsh words are what make it clear. The servitor is from you, works for you, and only you. You cannot create a servitor for anybody else, and no one can create a servitor for you. It is, like I said, for you, from you, and only you. And then you have another question. Will it always be activated or go into like a hibernation until you either call its name, imagine its face, clutch onto whatever you put him in? You could make a molded clay thing, be his home. It can even live on a part of your body. You put it on your elbow, stick it on that tattoo, anywhere. It is entirely up to you. Thing about chaos magic, no boundaries. And you're going to include that when you write out its role and when you're giving your servitor its do's and don'ts and its job description is you will be activated when I call your name, or when I see your face, or when there is danger, any kind of danger, if you're using it for protection. And then the final part of your servitor's role is discussing feeding. Is it going to feed itself? What is it going to live on? This can be anything. It can be anything you want. Some say that this part isn't necessary. I feel it is necessary because you are making a commitment to this entity. And if I'm going to create an entity I want it to do my bidding, the least I could do is take care of it. That's the way I see it. But I'm leaving this up to you. It is entirely up to you. So suggested foods. Candle offerings, incense offerings, water, attention, prayers, emotions, anything. You can also use your success to feed your servitor. Right? We look at our children and our animals and we take care of them. So we should take care of our servitors too. For me, for my servitor, he feeds off of emotion and success. So, and emotions, I'll go into that a little bit more. When I get up on that stage, my heart is way up here. and I feel like I can't get a single note out, and then it goes away. And immediately I start feeling enlightened and just ecstatic and happy, and I'm just ecstatic to be in front of that crowd. And then it becomes a success. And again, I have fed my servitor. Another way of feeding your servitor using success is like if you're losing weight, you're using it to help you lose weight. You got on that scale and you dropped a half a pound, 5 pounds. It doesn't matter. A loss is a loss when it comes to weight, right? Well, a loss is a win in this case. You have fed your servitor because your goal is moving forward. So it's an easy way to feed your servitor. Very easy way to do it. So then you want to go into giving your servitor a home or a vessel. Like I said, that's where is it going to live? Whether it be a ceramic piece, a piece of jewelry, a part on your body. It could be your big toe, for God's sakes. A tattoo, anywhere. You're giving it a home. It could be a drawing. Anything. I mean, I've got so many examples that I wrote out. A drawing, a crystal, a charm, a feather, a photo, even a favorite river or lake. Whatever. Monica says, how often would they need to eat? Would that need to be specified also? Yes, you specify that in its role. I will feed you, because you're creating a deal with your servitor. I will feed you every time I light an incense. I will feed you every time I need your assistance. I will, and you put in there, until I need you, you will hibernate. If it's something that if it's a servitor that you don't think you need every single hour of every single day and night, then specify how you want it to activate and help you and go into hibernation. And then, it could be as simple as when I call your name, I'm feeding you. Gotta run for a work meeting, but we'll catch the rest later. No problem. Enjoy. Sorry, it's a work meeting for you. So yeah, like I said, you can feed it what could happen if you didn't keep your end of the deal with feeding? Okay, so lots of things can happen if we don't keep our end of the deal. That's what I was going to go into next. We're going to skip. We're going to skip on generating and activating our servitor, and I'm going to go into upkeep. So you are, it'll backfire. Thank you, Run It. Yes, it will backfire. Whatever you decide and whatever deal or job description you give to this servitor, keep it up, just like any spirit. And this is a spirit. It is an entity. Broken promises are a big no-no. And the main reason that I really want to emphasize this, Yes, you always have to keep your deal. A neglected or forgotten servitor, or one that has completed its task, and you didn't either release it, retire it, or kill it, can become an egregore. And this is where we have a bit of a problem. We know egregores, they're also servants, and they have a place. But unlike servitors, egregores have a will of their own and can do things without commands. A servitor that has become an egregore can be a terrible nuisance and create havoc. And never heard of those either. They are also a creation from a magical person. And but you more or less create an egregore and send it out into the world to go handle stuff. But they don't respond back to you. They have a will of their own, and they will do tasks on their own. And they're more of a sinister type. So they're going to do what they want to do. Egregores were created or have been created to wreak havoc on other people's lives. And that's the thing about servitors, is it can turn into an egregore, and it will I do not know what that says. Hello, A11QU. What? Sorry, Ronette, I'm lost there. A neglected servitor can actually start with little things, little nuisance things, little havoc things in your life. And then those goals that that you created it to help you with, can completely backfire and go completely opposite on you. So please, 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 if you make a pact, you make a deal, you create a servitor, keep your promises, keep your deals. Only if they are unhappy, but they are well cared for, we are all good. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I'm going to go over also too, if you decide you have no more use for your servitor, or it's, she says, okay, phew. It served its purpose, and you didn't originally state that it would decay after it had accomplished his task, that's okay. You can still destroy it. You can still kill it. You can destroy its home. As a backup, I would take the paper out, because his name is written on the paper, and burn it. And that will kill my servitor. I don't plan on him dying, but if something happens and I need him to, that's my my like emergency plan. And they say it's good to have an emergency plan, because you just don't want it to, can you set it free? Just sounds like kind of an unkind, or am I just too sensitive? You can set it free, yes. But you need to make sure that if you set it free, you let it know that it has done its task. Trying to think of the best way to, and then and it is not allowed, give it boundaries. It is not allowed to wreak havoc on anybody. You could set it free. My last servitor that I had, I retired. I didn't kill him. I retired him. I let him go into retirement. So it's entirely up to you. I mean, at the same time, you don't want a million servitors wreaking havoc out there. Nice. Okay. So anyway, like a backup plan, you can destroy its home or vessel if you gave it a vessel. Or you could even tell it to stop and to return to you. Yes, you could create a retirement villa. There you go. And just tell them they all got to go to the retirement home. Time to go to your retirement home. We can do that. So, author Damon Brand, and he wrote Magical Servitors book, suggests adding a code word during its creation or a ritual that, when said or done, will either end the servitor's life or put it into retirement. But also adds with a warning in the book that it shouldn't be a word or ritual that you could do by accident and end its life if you weren't ready. I thought that was kind of a good little bit to add in there. The book that I have, it's Magical Servitors. It's actually called Magical Servitors Book by Damon Brand. And it is a very good book. So before I go into the actual creating and generating your servitor, do we have any other questions? Like I said earlier, the planning and the prepping, that is the biggest part of it. The actual creation itself is fairly easy. Huh. I don't know why I even have a... Is there ever a chance of it fighting back if it didn't want to be killed or go away or retire? I've not heard of one doing that. This is a creation from you, by you, for you. So if you don't want it anymore, you get to choose how you don't want it anymore. I've never heard of one fighting back. Doesn't mean one hasn't, but I haven't heard of it. So you know what, Monica? I'm going to say there's always a chance. If we look at what magic is, we're putting everything to chance, right? So yes, it's always going to be a chance of something happening. We do a spell, we chance it backfiring on us. So I'm going to say yes. So if we have any other questions before I move on. And there are multiple ways of creating your servitor. I'll go over the way that I did it. And then I can go over a couple of the other ways that I have learned how to. I've stuck with the same way each time. And I have done one for the weight loss and retirement bill. Yes, I know. I like that one too. I did do one for weight loss a couple years back, and I only asked it to help me stay under 190. And I've been staying under 190. And I retired that one. I've continued to stay under 190. But now I might need to go less than that. Health-wise, I probably need to be below, I'm about 185 right now, and that's still a bit big. And you can have more than one servitor at a time. You don't have to have just one at a time. You can have one for every aspect of your life. Or a tulpas. You know, like I had said in the beginning, tulpas are similar to servitors. They're just more, they are more of a companion, more of a imaginary friend. And those imaginary friends that we had when we were younger, those are tulpas. Okay, so I want to go into generating and activating your servitor. Setting up your space is just as important as writing out its role, writing out its contract, its job description, but not as intense. You could set up your space any way that is comfortable to you. And you can set up a few candles to help you meditate or visualize. I'm not good at meditating, but I'm amazing at visualization. So this is why I use this method. So what I like to do is I find what incense feels good to me. Right now, the incense that I'm kind of stuck on, it's called Witchy, and it smells like earth, and I love it. I don't know, it's amazing to me. It just smells like fresh, clean earth after an evening rain. I don't know who created it. I found it, and I've just been getting it from her ever since. So I like to light my incense. I like to make sure that I'm absolutely grounded. And I everything that I do, especially at my altar, I make sure that I have a protection circle, because at the same time, I don't want anybody else. I'd like to find that smell. I'm going to actually post it on there. Her name is Pinky, that I get it through. She lives here locally, and she's got an Etsy page that she sells on. And I get a lot of my incense from her. She does a lot of her own creations, and they just smell really good. So anyway, grounding, protection, incense. Those are always my go-to. And I will, that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to I usually stand at my altar, and I'm going to visualize the seed sigil in the air around me. And where you want your servitor to take shape. So the way I do it is I basically look up. I start to see the seed sigil, the heart sigil that I created. And then I want to make sure that I hold that sigil in my mind very, very, very clearly and let it begin to multiply into hundreds and thousands of the exact same sigil. And then all of these kind of like little atoms, these sigils are going to come together and start creating the shape that I want him to take. And everybody's shape is going to be different. You might want him to look like an animal of some sort. And I say of some sort because you don't want it to look exactly like an animal. You know, a blue fox, you know, something that you're not going to see every day, right? And I mean blue like blue, you know. We're not going to see that colored fox, right? At least I hope not. Or like I had said in a couple of my examples, if you're a giant beholder eyeball for viewing, mirrored warrior, you know, like you could have a big Asian warrior, but he's covered in mirrors for protection, right? Sky's the limit. Anyway, you will be imagining these hundreds and thousands of sigils taking shape, like just little atoms all connecting and taking shape to whatever shape you chose for your servitor. If you had decided to call upon, oh, sorry, Dr. Talley, you're going to have to leave a message. My supervisor. It's her fault. She's calling me after hours to tell me where I need to be tomorrow. If you decided to call upon a god or a deity to aid in the creation or to aid in the servitor's task, this is a good time to request or your deity or god to join you or invoke them, or this is a great time to bring them in. If you're not involving anything else aside from yourself, then you can simply declare it alive. I like to take the piece, in this case, the paper, and blow on it. That is how that's how I activate, is I give it my breath. And I also find that it's very helpful to say it out loud. Breathe upon it and say, I am activating you, or however, you can say it however you want. I think one time I even had said, you're alive. You're alive. Here you go. Let's get to work, you know. It's entirely up to you. So that's how I created it. I know that another method of creating, it takes less visualization and more hands-on. Take a piece of clay. We're gonna go with the piece of clay. You could take a piece of clay and create your shape. I don't care if it's a blob, right? It's a shape that you're creating, and draw the sigils, your same sigil on it. If you have any added sigils that you want, like I said, those would be like the boundary sigils. If you want to add those to it, you would add those to it also. And blow on it, and give it life. So there's that way. And then there's also, like I said, I'm not very good at meditation, but I know a few people that are extremely amazing at meditation, and that's how they create theirs, is they meditate on it and until they are meditating with it, with their servitor, and creating its life. I'm so late, but I'm here now. Oh, no worries. We're all the way at the end, though. I don't even know how long I've been on. I don't think I can tell. Oh, almost an hour. Wow. Anyway, I'm sorry. My head itches. And it's probably because I did my braid way too tight today. I didn't want it to come apart in my helmet. Questions? Any questions? I'm sure I got answers. Because I mean, I'll just keep talking about the servitors, and well, maybe not. I'm not as good at Crystal as Crystal is about being chatty. Oh, I'm glad you guys really enjoyed it. A servitor is an amazing creature, and like I said in the beginning, it comes from you, for you. It is a big part of you. I'm driving, but I will have questions. Okay, you could ask the questions anytime you want. Wait, just be careful driving. No distracted driving. Careful. I've had... Thank you for all the information and can't wait to watch again and take notes from the beginning. Yeah. I definitely write down the notes. And I can't emphasize enough that when you're describing its role, when you're writing everything down to describe its goal, everything that you want it to do, describe it. Everything that you do not want it to do, put in there. How you want to feed it, put it all in there. Let's see, what does this say? If you made it in clay form, would you have to put that clay somewhere safe to keep it alive? Kind of like how the paper is tucked safe in the jar. Yes. Anything that you put it on, try to keep it safe. That not keeping your servitor safe is another way of breaking your promise, breaking your pact with your servitor. And with like being on a piece of paper, being in a part of clay, or anything, whatever you decide is going to be its home or its vessel. If something were to happen to that vessel, it could kill your servitor. So yes, keep it safe. Anyway, I'm going to jump back over to, it's just hard to not emphasize enough about when you're giving this servitor its job description. Be simple, but specific. Do not be vague. A servitor that needs to figure out things on their own is a lost servitor. And your goal that you're asking it to help you with may not be reached, if at all ever. So, well, I hope that really helps everybody. And I might have to do a couple of other lives, maybe one on egregores and one on tulpas, since we went over those guys also a little bit. Let's see. What does this say? For protection, would it only work for the person making it, or could it be one made to protect each individual family member? As a recruiter by a day job, I don't see how to emphasize how important simple description jobs are. Magic or mundane. Yeah, absolutely. So I can totally agree with you, Ellen, absolutely. Simple is always best, right? As a recruiter, I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with the KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I was raised on that one. Of course, when I said it to my kids when they were young, I changed it to keep it simple, silly, but we all understand it. Anyway, Monica, I want to answer your question. For protection, no. You can create a servitor to protect your entire household. I mean, we're tired at the end of the day. And I do know of a couple of other people who do use them for protection. One of my closest friends here in town, she uses it for protection for her entire household. You know, we're wiped out at the end of the day. So sometimes we need that extra help. And sometimes we need that extra protection, whether it be, like I said earlier, physical, magical, spiritual, emotional, whatever you need your protection for, whatever you think your family needs protection for. Yes, you can create the servitor to protect the entire family. You can't create the servitor to protect one other person specifically, because like I said earlier, I can't create a servitor for you. You can't create a servitor for me, but I can have the servitor protect everyone within my home or within my circle or within my life. Once that person's out of my life, they're no longer under my servitor's protection. Which, yeah, I've had that also. I don't need your slobbers. Go lay down. So, I don't want to jump off because, I mean, servitors are pretty badass. And I want to make sure that I answer any other questions. Yeah, Ellen, KISS has been my motto my entire life. And I love it. Thanks so much for answering all my questions. This has been a great topic. I'm really glad that you all enjoyed it. And I absolutely... A servitor is just an amazing, magical being and can help you get the best out of your life. I wish everybody the best of luck on creating. And when you're done with it, if you feel that you can't kill him, retire him. Send him off to that retirement villa, like Michelle says. If any other questions come up, type them on in here, and I'll get them and I'll answer them for you as they come up. Also, just like we do for everybody who has to rewatch. Anyway, many blessings, all of you. I love you. Mwah. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I've got a dog that wants me to throw a ball for her, so I'm gonna go do that. Thanks, you guys. Love you.